Greetings, my friends. I'm Andrea, and welcome to this weekly update about Bitcoin. Before I start, I would like to say that all my updates are on the UTC time zone. So please be sure to take this into account. This is the way I consider the days, and it is important. Otherwise, it will be difficult to keep track with this. And I would like to start with this consideration that we are in a very important week. It's January 13th, January 19th, just before the big inauguration day in the US. And we expect a high impact on Bitcoin for the day. Therefore, what happens this week will be very telling in terms of expectation for the next. Without further ado, I would like to go into it, to dive into the global astrology, and then we will go into details with members for Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and the gold and silver index XAU. And as you are used to, I will also give a bit of detail on Bitcoin, at least bits and pieces, so be sure to stay until the end. Let's start. First of all, on Monday, January 13th, we do have a global astrological event, which is something we look forward to because finally we get something that is strong and positive. It's a Sun trine Uranus. And this is volatility, of course, as well, but it can really bring a high evolution of prices that would be quite up, and it will happen fast. This is what we expect. Now the question is how fast it will happen, if it will happen on the beginning of the week, really on Monday, or it will be delayed towards Tuesday. And this is because we still have some energy that is pretty negative from the weekend. So the question is if we get this manifested in the weekend, then we can say, okay, maybe we got rid of it. But if not, and we don't have enough transaction volume, then we can see these, corrections on Monday still. But the tone of the week is in general positive. Monday should be quite a good development, and it will instill volatility, and this is basically good news. It could be associated with some rumors regarding regulations, or maybe good forecasts from analysts. Something like that can really push the prices upward. Then on Tuesday, so it would be the 14th of January, we do have a Venus-Jupiter square, and this is not the best. It will put brakes on prices again. So it's like a point of tension, and Jupiter is about optimism, which is not really there with this square with Venus that is about currency and cryptocurrency. Jupiter is linked to regulation as well, but it could be in general the fact that there is some fear or caution, some kind of rumors in the market again that would really slow the pace of evolution down. Just be aware of that. And the 15th of January is a more quiet day that I would say it would have the flavor of the previous day, due to the fact that we have the Venus-Jupiter square, which is not a only one day aspect, but it's rather a long-term one that shapes this. On the positive side, it is also a point of adjusting expectations and having a more solid foundation for growth. That would be also a positive way to really see it. So if we think about the fact that we wait for good news in the future and so on, we hope this will not have such a drastic influence on prices at this time. Thursday, January 16th, caution advised on this day because in the global astrology we do have a Sun-Mars opposition. And as we could see also last week with Mars out of bounds and retrograde, at the moment we might get big price swings that are not to be neglected. So be very, very cautious, especially if you day trade, have stop losses accordingly. It will be a challenging day, most likely. Then on Friday, again, good news. We see one day is good, one day is bad, unfortunately. Maybe it's also this climate of instability just before the inauguration. This could also be the culprit for the instability in the markets at the moment, at least. But yes, Friday happens with a positive aspect between the Sun and Neptune, which is in the global astrology, so it will affect all markets, and this is about the Sun, which is again regulation. It's about law enforcement. It's a general direction for the market that is really approved, and it is optimistic with good expectations, which is Neptune. Of course, they might be a bit overblown and unrealistic, but overall it is a good influence after the turbulence from the past days. Then we can say that on Saturday we get a bit of relief with no new astrological influence. Most likely the climate of Friday will stay alive during the weekend, depending also on the transaction volume that we will experience. And Sunday is the big day because as we know, yes, it's a weekend, but we have plenty of astrology that is supportive with one that is a bit of a question mark, I would say, and this is about the conjunction between Saturn and Venus in the sky that shows some restriction or regulation and some monetary policy revision for the future, because Venus is currency, can be cryptocurrency as well, as we know, and Saturn will be about law enforcement. So there is some framework, some legislative framework really coming into place, and this is a long-term aspect that can influence for months to come. Just be aware of that. Then we do have in the global astrology good aspects with Mercury and Venus, which is very good news due to the fact that this will influence the next week and especially the next day with the inauguration. And as promised, a bit of detail about Bitcoin. We do have on this day the chart powerfully triggered with the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, which is very good and positive for expansion. It is a bright green, so it's a very good influence for Bitcoin at this stage, which is very promising for the next week and for the inauguration day. So I hope I can give you some hope here with a positive note going into the next week, and I want to thank you as always for your attention, for liking and subscribing, and until next time, be joyful. See you. My dear Patreon and Telegram subscribers, so welcome to this weekly update, January 13th, January 19th, just before the inauguration in the US. We can expect volatility and a nice price upsurge, I would say, maybe similar to what we got in the election event, but I don't know about the magnitude, so we will need to see that. So let's go into Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and XAU as usual, and I will share my screen. Bitcoin, what a relief. Why? Because I think at a glance we can see that we start to get more green. It will be more even in the next week with the inauguration, but even this week I would say it will be a sort of correction to the negative influences, although you can see we still have at hourly level and even beyond this in detail there are still negative influences. I only hope that we will get more money into Bitcoin and we will have more of an upside, so to speak. It would be really time for that, taking into account the events that come ahead. So on the 13th, we still have a lot of events. As you see, lots of fires. Already we have a Bitcoin a green fire here, which means that these are really volatile movements during the day. The one that is here with the fire is global, at global level, and it's for the whole markets. And we do have the Bitcoin one, which is specific to Bitcoin. The gray days are neutral. I know some of you asked about that. It is not in the cheat sheet because it is the default. It is like years, like 2022 when I started with it, it's still the default. Just know that if we don't have any aspect at a day level, it will be gray. So not each day, some astrology happens at day level. I mean, each and every hour and minute, yes, it happens. But at a day level, we will not have major astrology always active. And 13th is such a day, we might see some of the turbulence from the weekend playing out, depending how much transaction volume we do have during the weekend. I filmed this on the 9th of January, so I do not know how this will be behaving during the weekend. But be aware of the fact that on the 13th we should see already improvement. 14th, 15th are basically neutral days for Bitcoin, and yes, we do have some influences in the global astrology, like I mentioned, that are not optimal, but we will need to go through them in order to have the increases later in the week and in the next one. So on the 14th, we do have still some corrections during the day for Bitcoin. 15th will continue in the same pace and flavor like the 14th most likely. And then on the 16th, we do have, and on the 17th, finally some day level aspects at Bitcoin level that you see green. It's strong on the 17th. And we do have here also during the day some corrections on the 16th especially. And yes, there is caution here because in the global astrology you see the rainy weather. So this is the opposition between Mars and Sun, and Mars is out of bounds still. So this is a negative aspect that can bring a tougher correction. That would be temporary because afterwards we will see the prices going up. And the weekend is sort of neutral to a bit of green, at least this is what we can hope for that, because on the 18th, as you see, we do have also a green fire, which is at market level. We have some corrections during the day, and we have also a Bitcoin fire, which is negative. If this doesn't manifest on the weekend, it could really happen on the next week on Monday at at the beginning of the week. At least it would be a temporary correction. And on the 19th we do have a bright Sun Jupiter conjunction, which is triggering the Bitcoin horoscope, and this is good to take into account because it is powerful. As you see, it's a bright green. We do have also other bright green days coming, so towards inauguration we can look with optimism. Now I would like to have a glance at ETH to compare it with Bitcoin and see what happens. Ethereum between the 13th and the 19th of January. So you can see we do have the beginning of the week less optimistic than in the case of Bitcoin, but we do have the aspects at market level that are encouraging despite of the full moon and the red moon crescents, which still show correction. So it is a day to be cautious, but we do have also positive energy from the weekend, at least for Ethereum. So it could be that it takes off from Tuesday, which is not really the case for Bitcoin. So here we can say that maybe in the beginning of the week we will get a better pace of evolution for Ethereum. 16th is also a bright green, but we do have also high fluctuation, which is on the 16th, triggering the Ethereum horoscope. As you see, it's a fluctuating aspect from Mars, and we know that this is also the case in the sky, that we have this opposition. So it's still a tough day, but the fact that we have bright moon crescents, this shows recovery. So it could be that the recovery from drops is quite faster between Tuesday and Thursday at least. Now what is really contrasting is the end of the week, which is on the 17th. We get a red aspect on Ethereum in the horoscope, and despite of the good weather here and the fact that Bitcoin is positive, we might see here some drops at the end of the week on Friday, but also on Thursday as well, because of this fluctuating aspect on the 16th. And we do have also a weekend that is more optimistic, I would say, than Bitcoin on the 18th and the 19th. This looks pretty good. And we can look forward here to a correction recovery after the drops that we got at the end of the working week. Now I would like to go into altcoins. Altcoins from the blue chips, we can say that we have a poll this week that has more interesting astrology, that is bullish and it is more uniform. Of course, nothing is perfect this week, it seems. And you can consider also having a look at Solana and XRP as well, but especially for the first part of the week. The gold and silver index XAU is really quite a roller coaster, I would say, this week. If we take into account the astrology, it's quite colorful, as you can see. So from the 13th towards the 19th, we do have volatility in the beginning of the week, which is positive. You see the red fire, and we have also the full moon energy. So we can expect some correction from the weekend, and then we will have recovery. 14th is negative. We can see a low intensity red. It's not a disaster here, but we might have correction also during the day. 15th is a key aspect that is really long term, and one is positive, one is negative, and 16th is also negative. If we go into the symbolism of the colors, and this is pretty astrologically only, because the flow of money can be different. So we have a negative energy that is stronger, because you see it's a mid-intensity red, which is stronger. It's a -8 than this positive low-intensity green on the 15th, and this is quantified with 4. So it's like a -4 in total if we really think about the day. So the mid of the week, I would say, would be rough. Potentially, and then towards the end of the week we will have recovery. On the 17th, you see we do have a mid-intensity green quantified as a 6. So this means progressive recovery, and during the weekend we already have on Saturday Saturday mixed aspects, but we have a high intensity green at least and a low intensity green, which really look promising. They are stronger than the deep red that we get on the 18th. And the 19th looks also good due to the fact that we have a bright moon crescent and it's a neutral day. Yes, it's not a clear direction for the day, but we do have also good weather. So I would say that here the week is volatile in the beginning, could have some corrections. Then in the mid of the week, for sure, we will have some rough days. Then it will go into the end of the week with recovery and growth at the end of it. My dear subscribers, before I leave today, I would like to talk a bit about the current situation, about the bigger picture. Of course, we expect more, and I'm also a bit disappointed on how the upside works, because the astrology is quite promising, like we saw the Rahu-Pluto sextile that we got on the 6th, and we got the 102K, but it lasts only a few hours or even one day, and then again we get this negative influence on this. And why this might be so? Maybe we can ask ourselves about this, and of course we will never know the root cause, unfortunately, and usually there are many. It's quite a complex landscape in the market right now, but I would like to share with you some thoughts. And my thoughts come from a Vedic astrology standpoint. Of course, if you are on Twitter, you might have seen also me mentioning Chiron stationary. This matters less, but when it has bad aspects, like it had this week that passed, is really relevant, because it played also its role in crisis historically and so on in classical markets. Of course, for Bitcoin, we do not have history, but as we see, it can disturb Bitcoin as well. So Chiron could be one part of the story. Now it will be direct, which will be much better than it was retrograde, so many months in the last part of 2024. But why I think it's still, this controversy and the fact that we don't have the stability of the upside. In my opinion, we do have some hurdles still next month, and we will come up with details on this in a due time for you. But the thing is that we have a last transit that will never happen, and it will last for a few months still. We will need to bear with it, and it is one of the growth triggers, which is Uranus, and it is in the sidereal Aries for the last time. It is also the house of career for Bitcoin, as you might be aware. I think I mentioned that. It's also a unique opportunity for Bitcoin to establish and to say, okay, this is my part of growth that I finished, this is my role in the society, and then I will build upon that. And then we have green light, to go for the next 7 years into Taurus, which is the house of gains. It's really about expanding and developing further this achievement that we already got with Bitcoin. And it's also not the best configuration of Uranus in the sidereal Taurus, but it's still something that will really go forward into the future in a more stable manner. The problem now, it is the fact that, yes, it is in Aries, but it stays at the anaretic degree, the 29th degree. The 29th degree, usually this anaretic characteristic of it is more used in the tropical astrology, but it seems that it plays a role also in the sidereal one, and it is there since December already. I think, yes, it went into the sidereal Aries, and it will stay into it for a while, for the next months. It will turn also direct in Aries, so that you know from a sidereal perspective. So it is the finishing of an era that we still need to bear with, and usually there are corrections, there are things that have to be finished before the next cycle of growth would really be established. And the link with this Aries is the fact that we have also Mars, the ruler of Aries, now out of bounds. It's retrograde. So February will still be quite difficult, I would say, but not the first one. So we can, the first part of February, it's still good. Just to give you some hope, it's not like all doom and gloom, and inauguration looks good. So I will publish also another video about it. I will link it. Have a look at it, and I think we still have some upside to catch with the Mercury out of bounds. Even for 10 days it will matter. Mars is out of bounds, yes, and we'll have also some positive aspect, and then it will help the price action. So it will be a growth, but in outbursts, so to speak, not a stable growth, unfortunately, for the moment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your loyalty. I am very grateful to you, and I wish you a successful week ahead. See you.